Thank you. So, I'm very happy to be here among the devotees of New Jersey today. Please accept my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhayascha kripa sindhubevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so very much for giving me this opportunity to associate with all of you today. And my respectful obeisances to Maharaj and all the other senior devotees. Thank you so much for being present there. Hare Krishna, Shri Radha Damodar Bhagwan ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today I've been asked to discuss a topic from Krishna Leela. So I thought I'll take up the topic of Kaliya Daman Leela. So we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 15, 16 and 17. So we all know that this Kaliya Leela, it started after the Vada of Dhenukasur, and how all these cowherd boys and Krishna are going around the different forests of Vrindavan. And then they end up at this particular place where this Kalia is residing. And then we know how Sukadeva Goswami explains that it's a hot summer, Grishma Kal, and all these cowherd boys are thirsty. So they just walk up to this Kaliya Daha and they drink the poisonous water of the Kaliya Daha. So there he explains how looks like the commentary of different various acharyas is looks like there is some kind of a arrangement of the Lord, because otherwise in Vrindavan there is never Grishma Kal, because wherever Krishna walks there is Vasanta Rutu. So it says it was hot, that means it was Krishna's arrangement, maybe he wanted this Leela to happen. So all these cowherd boys, they walk up to this Kaliya Daha and they drink water. And the acharyas comment that these boys were aware of the apparent existence of Kaliya Naga there, because they were warned by the elders that they should avoid going to that place, but probably they were so thirsty that they just went and drank the water. And here it says that Sukadeva Goswami also gives a little taunt to Parikshit Maharaj, addressing him as Kuru, as if trying to tell him that you know what happens when you feel thirsty, right? You just lose your mind, you just end up, So you know what happens, because that is what had happened with Parikshit Maharaj. He was thirsty and he ended up putting the snake Samik Rishi's neck. So he says, you know what happens when you are thirsty. So even though the cowherd boys were aware that Kaliya Daha was infested with poisonous water, they ended up drinking water there. And then he explains how all of them at a time drink water, and they all fell dead there along with the cows and the calves. And then the acharyas comment that here also we can understand that, how can that be possible that everybody at the same time, all these cowherd boys and the calves ended up drinking the water, because usually when there is a big crowd, there are some people who will drink in the beginning, and then some people are walking back, and then some people are reviewing, oh, the water is nice, maybe you can go and drink. But here in this case, we see all of them end up drinking water together. And then they all lay down there at the bank of Yamuna dead. And then Krishna enters, and then he looks at them with their merciful glance. So I thought there were many beautiful lessons that we could take from this Leela. The way Krishna looks at them, he throws his Amruta glance, Amruta Varsha over these cowherd boys, and instantly they're all revived. And I was thinking that was such a beautiful point, that when Krishna throws his merciful glance, the Vaishnava Acharyas explain it is something like the cow, when the calf plays around in the mud and comes lovingly running back to the cow licks the calf with so much love and relieves the calf of all the dirt. Similarly, when the Lord gives his merciful glance on the devotee, he purifies the devotee of all the sins. So similarly, here the Lord gives his merciful glance. And I was thinking this was so important, because sometimes as devotees, when we are in darshan, we are so eager to get the Lord's darshan. But here the point is made that more than we having the darshan of the Lord, it's important that the Lord looks at us. Like usually the example is given that if a beggar is looking at a rich man, it may or may not make a difference. But when the rich man looks at the beggar and throws his merciful glance, definitely there's going to be some difference in the life of the beggar. So similarly, we may be trying to look at the Lord, and sometimes we do end up committing some aparadh, because if there is a temple packed of devotees, and we may just elbow each other and try to go little front and look at the Lord. But the whole point is, it's not about we looking at the Lord, but the Lord looking at us. And that happens when we connect jivas to the Lord. Then Lord becomes so happy. Instead of we trying to look at the Lord, if we are connecting devotees of the Lord to the Lord, then he will be the one who will be searching for us in the temple hall, that where is that devotee who is connecting so many jivas to me. So I thought this was a very beautiful point, that here we can understand the importance of Lord's merciful glance on us. So here the Lord looks with his merciful glance at the cowherd boys, and instantly they're all revived. They get back their life. And as soon as they get back their life, they start asking each other, hey, you were dead. I thought you were dead. How come we are all revived? And they instantly give credit that it is Govinda Anugraha. It's only because of Krishna. It's because of Govinda that we are all revived. And I thought that was also such a beautiful point as devotees, which we can take up in our life, is sometimes when we are not successful, it is very easy to express it as Krishna's arrangement. We very easily say that I tried my best, I tried my 100%, but then rest is up to Krishna, so it didn't work out. But when we are successful, it is so difficult to give credit to Krishna, because somewhere deep in the heart we will feel even I worked hard for it. I remember as a young child, I had read this very humorous story about this one man who was walking on a street, and he comes across a very beautiful coconut tree. And this coconut tree is laden with lots of coconut, and he gets tempted. So he just goes up the tree, and then he tries to get all those coconuts. Now the thing is that the coconut tree is very tall, very long. So he, out of excitement, goes up all the way up, and when he actually collects the coconut and looks down, then he's a little afraid seeing all the big height, and he's like, oh my God, I may just fall down. And at that very moment, there are violent wind coming, and the tree starts shaking. So now this man, he instantly starts praying to the Lord. And as is the tradition with devotees, they will immediately make some vows. Oh Krishna, you help me and I'll do this for you, or you help me and I'll do that for you. So immediately he vows. He said, Krishna, if you help me safely land back, then all these 100 coconuts that I have collected, I'll give it to you. And then, lo behold, the wind actually starts getting a little easy, and he's just climbing down very slowly. And as he's climbing down, he thinks, what will Krishna do with 100 coconuts? Maybe we can have 50-50%. Maybe I'll give 50 to Krishna and 50 I'll keep myself. And then as he climbs a little bit more down, another thought comes to his mind. He's like, well, I was the one actually who located and spotted this coconut tree. And I guess I was the one who worked hard to get all the way up. And I was the one who actually plucked those coconuts, and I am the one who is now working hard. So I think Krishna is a sleeping partner. He didn't do much about it. He just helped the wind. So maybe he can have 25% of the coconuts and I can have 75%. And as he is just thinking this in his mind, the winds again start blowing very violently and the tree is shaking. And then this man is all horrified. And then he immediately looks up to the sky and he tells Krishna, hey, look, I'm just joking with you. Don't mind, okay? I'm going to give you all the 100. Just safely land me down, So this is something like what we do in our lives, because when we are not successful, it's very easy, oh, it's Krishna's mercy, oh, it's Krishna's plan, what can I do? But when we are successful, it is so difficult to give credit to Krishna completely. However, in our daily sadhana routine, we are taught to say all glories to Guru and Gauranga, that is, all credit goes to Guru and Gauranga, but how much we can take it to the heart is a little difficult to digest. So, but here you see the cowherd boys very naturally, for everything that happened in their life, auspicious, they could immediately give credit to Krishna. And then this is how the 15th chapter ends, where Sukdev Goswami says that the cowherd boys are very happy, and they say this is Govinda Anugraha, that we are all revived. And then the 16th chapter starts, where the Sukdev Goswami wraps up the whole katha in just one sloka, where he says the black Krishna jumped in the black waters of Yamuna and drove the black snake away. And then Sukadev Goswami makes it so short, and then Parikshit Maharaj is like, no, you can't do that. I want to hear the whole katha. How did Kalia ended up there, and how did he, how did Krishna drive him away? So then Sukadev Goswami starts explaining in detail about the whole Leela. So we all know that how Kalia ended up there in the waters of Yamuna, in the holy land of Vrindavan. We know how Kashyapa Muni had two wives, Vanita and Kadru, and how Kadru had given birth to snakes, and Vanita had given birth to Garuda and Aruna. And we know how Shesha was the elder son of Kadru. And then when the Supreme Lord directs Shesha to go down and hold the planet Earth on his head, Shesha asks Krishna, how am I supposed to do it? I don't think I can do it all by myself. And then Krishna comes in the form of tortoise and helps him to raise the planet, gives him support. But then still Shesha complains that, oh, that's all right, I'm holding it on my head, but how long am I supposed to do that? And any time period? And then Krishna tricks him and says, you can do it as long as you chant my different names, and don't repeat any of my name, and the day you come to the end of my names, you can actually put the planet Earth down. So we all know that Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta, there is no end of Krishna's name, it's unlimited. And we know that Sheshanag is still going on chanting. But what actually happened is when Shesha went down, all the way down below the Patal Loka to hold the planet Earth, all the other siblings also came along with him. So they all started settling in Rasatal, Sutal, Tala, and then different places. And then there were some serpents who settled in Mahatal. And in Mahatal there was this island called Ramanaka Island, and all these snakes were settled here and they were happy. But the only problem that they had is Garuda used to make this frequent visits to this Ramanaka Island because snakes are his natural food. And he used to end up, just catching some snakes and eating them. So then they made a agreement with Garuda that instead of just randomly catching any snake, why not we have an agreement? We give you, a snake on regular periods with some bhoga, and you don't end up eating just about any snake. So that was the arrangement. It was all going well. So Garuda used to get some bhoga and a snake. And once it so happened that it was the turn of Kalia. So when Kalia was sent to Garuda with all the bhoga, Kalia ended up eating all for himself, and he actually put up a fight with Garuda because he didn't want to be eaten up by Garuda. So then, Garuda is chasing Kalia, and Kalia is running around, and this is the whole scene. Now Kalia is very intelligent, so when he sees that Garuda is very powerful and he's not able to fight it out, then he just goes down to his elder brother Anarthas and asks him for help. And then Anarthas very maturely gives him some guidance. He said, maybe you can just go and stay in Vrindavan in this particular lake because Garuda won't come there. And then he explains the history to Kalia, how Garuda has been cursed by Saubara Muni, who was meditating in that lake, and because Garuda used to come there for eating fish, and Saubara Muni apparently got attached to the fishes because he had been residing in that lake for some time now. And when he saw that these fishes were eaten by Garuda, and the she fishes were lamenting for when their husbands died, and out of his mercy and out of his affection for those fishes, he says, Garuda, that if you ever come to this lake, you will be killed. So Garuda never ever goes to that lake, so you can very safely go and reside there. So then we all know how Kaliya ends up coming to Vrindavan, and then he is residing in this particular stream of Yamuna. And now Kaliya is there. He has this siddhi of Jalastamba. So he has made this house inside this lake, and he's there with his wife and children and friends. But because he's so venomous and he's all the time giving out poison, the lake is full of venomous poison, and the poison is so heavy that even the breeze that is passing above the lake also carries the droplets of those poison, and for miles around there is no vegetation, and because of this poisonous gases that are coming out from this lake, all the vegetation around there has died. Now what Krishna does is that, because he wants to purify the Yamuna, and he wants to give pleasure to the devotees, and he sees that the farmers and certain devotees who are having work around this area have to go long distances to get water, just to please them. He wanted to clean the Kaliya Daha, so he ends up jumping inside the Kaliya Daha, and then the whole story unfolds how he very heroically fights with Kaliya. Now there's a very beautiful bhajan which explains a very humorous conversation that happens between Krishna and the Nagapatnis, who see how Krishna jumps inside the water. Now see, there are different famous Vaishnava poets belonging to different regions. Like we have this Annamaya, who is very famous in South India. He sings lots of Telugu bhajans. Like we have Purandar Das, who sings Kannada bhajans. We have Tukaram, who sings Marathi poems. We have a very famous poet in Gujarat. He's called Narsi Mehta. And he gives a very humorous and witty account of this whole incident which happens, and how Krishna jumps into the Kaliya lake. So I thought I'll sing that bhajan for all of you today. Of course, it's in Gujarati. I don't know how many of you understand Gujarati, but definitely I'll explain it. So it's a very sweet bhajan, and Narsimha is a very pure devotee. And whenever he's writing these poems, he's actually seeing the Leela happen in front of him, and he just, sings this, writes this prabhatyas, they are called. He writes down these bhajans. So here Narsimha is explaining this whole scene, that how Krishna has jumped in the water. And these Nagapatnis, on seeing Krishna, they start requesting Krishna, because Krishna is so sweet, little boy. When this Leela is happening, maybe he's just 6 years old and very sweet looking innocent boy. And the Nagapatnis are like, how come such a sweet looking boy has ended up in this poisonous lake? So they start singing this beautiful song. They say, जल कमल छाड़ी जाने बाड़ा स्वामी अमारो जागशे जागशे ने तने मारसे ने बाड़ हत्या लागशे जड़ कमल छाड़ी जाने बाड़ा. These Nagapatnis, they are requesting, hey little sweet boy, how have you ended up in this poisonous lake? Why don't you just go from here? Because Krishna was very naughty. When he jumped inside the lake, it's not that he was just quiet there. He was making lots of noise, making all the ripples, and the way he jumped like an elephant, the whole pond the bank was overflowing with the water, and he was making all sorts of noise and agitating. So these Nagapatnis are saying that, if you do this, you will end up waking up our husband. And you know what will happen if he wakes up? He's an angry man, and he's going to kill you. And imagine if he kills you, what will happen? You know what Chitragupta does? He just writes down, right, everybody's bad or good karma. And they're going to immediately write down that he has killed a small little boy, Bala Hatya. And you know what are the repercussions, if you kill a small boy. So he'll end up committing, big sin. So don't do that, a little boy, why don't you just go back, from wherever you have come to. And then in the next line, the Nagapatnis, they sing, कहे बालक तू मार्ग भूल्यो के तारा वेरिये वडावियो निश्चय तारो काळज कूट्यो अहिया तू सिद्ध आवियो. They said, a little boy looks like somebody has misguided you, is it not? How did you end up here? Looks like some enemy must have planned it to send you in this poisonous lake, to kill you. Or maybe very innocently you just forgot your way home and ended up in this lake. So take our advice and just go back home. So now Krishna answers these Nagapatnis. He says, Nahi naganahu maraga bhulyo, namara veriye vadaviyo, Mathura nagari majugat ramata, naganu shishahariyo. He says, no, respected ladies, don't misunderstand. No enemy of mine has sent me here. Neither have I forgotten my route, It's just that I was with my friends the other day at Mathura, and I was having a gambling match with them. And when I was having this gambling match, I had nothing to put on stake. So I told them, all right, if I get defeated, I'll just cut the head of Kalia and I'll give it to you. So since I lost the game, I've come here to take the head of your husband and I'll just go and give it in Mathura. Now these Nagapatnis are like, look at the audacity of this boy, as if, as if our husband is a joke, he can just cut his head and give it. And then they just look at Krishna all the way up to down, and then they say, range rudho rupe puro dishanta kodilo kodhamano tari matae ketala janamya ematu anakhamano. They say to each other, he looks nice, I don't know why he's speaking so insensible. He looks nice. He has 2 hands, 2 legs, handsome, a good-looking boy. Why is he talking like that? And I don't understand one thing. How can a mother send such a sweet-looking boy, cute boy to this kind of waters? Oh, maybe, the mother has given birth to so many children. She doesn't even know which son is where, Sometimes it's happened, 13, 14 children, and they don't know what's happening with whom. So they're asking Krishna, is it that your mother has given birth to many children and she doesn't know where you are? And then Krishna answers, Mari mata e beva janamya imahu natavara nanudo jagao taranagane marunama Krishna kanudo. So Krishna clarifies, hey look, it's not that my mother has given birth to many children and she's not bothered about me. Look, my mother gave birth to only 2 children, okay? And I have an elder brother and I'm Nanudu. I'm the younger one. Hey, wait. Why are we even talking all this? Don't waste my time. Just go and wake up your husband and tell him that Krishna is here. My name is Krishna Kanudo. Just go and wake him up and tell him that I'm here. Look, I have 100 other things to do and I don't know why we are wasting even in this kind of a conversation. Just go and wake up your husband. So then these Nagapatnis are like, oh, so we understand. He's a small boy. And what do we do with a small boy? Maybe we just bribe him. Sometimes if children don't listen, you just give them some chocolates and then they are fine. So then they decide, wait, let's bribe him. So then the Nagapatnis, they sing this other line. They say, Lakh savano hara apure tujne doriyo itlu mara nagathi chanu apu karine choriyo. And the Nagapatni says, look, we'll give you a beautiful golden necklace. Do you want that? And we'll give you a nice golden robes. Do you want them? Listen, cute boy. Why don't you take all these gifts from us and go back home? Come on, be a good boy, okay? And look, don't ask more than this. I can't give more than this. This is what I can give after doing chori, stealing in my own house without informing my husband. This is all I can give you. But now, don't ask for more. Take this and go back home. So then Krishna answers very wittily. He says, Sukaru nagana harane taro, sukaru tari doriyo, sukarva karvi tare, gharma karvi choriyo. Then Krishna says, hey, respected ladies, why do you even have to steal for me from your own house? And look, even if you give me those necklaces and, those golden threads, what will I do? See, he's a son of a rich man. My father is a king of Vraja, and I don't think I need your necklaces, and I have enough at my own house. So let's not waste time in this. I don't need and mind it. Don't steal for my sake in your own house. Don't do that. Now the Nagapatnis are like, oh my God, how do we deal with this little mischievous boy? He's just not listening to us. So then they get like, all right, then we're going to wake up our husband. So then the Narasimha sings, Paga pachadi mucha marodi nagane naga jagaviyo utho re balavant dekho baane badak aviyo. So now they're all frustrated. So they're like, what happens in frustration? They just like stamp their feet in all anger, and then they just go and twist the mustache of their husband and say, hey look, Balavant is like the Balashali. Hey look, get up. Can you get up? Can you see what's happening? A small little boy has come to our door and he's asking you to call, he's asking us to call upon you. So now the Kalia, he wakes up. All right, who's this? Who's trespassed my place? So then Beva Maria Bate Vadagiya Krishna Nagana Thaviyo Sahasrafene Fuka Bharata Gagane Gaje Hathiyo. Now finally both are very strong. So finally now they get face to face and the fighting starts between Krishna and Kalia. So Narasimha Mehta explains that when the fighting starts between them, it's such a huge fighting. Gagane gaje hathiyo, it looks like thousands and lakhs of elephants are making noise and thunder, in the sky. Such a big noise has been made. Tumultuous sound is coming out when these both Balashali are fighting with each other. And then what happens? The Nagapatnis start seeing that, hey, doesn't look like he's just an innocent boy. He's actually having lot of strength. Look what he's doing with our husband. So then Narasimha Mehta sings, Naganasu vilapa kare che, Nagane bahu dukha apashe, Mathura nagari malai jashene, Naganu shishakapase. So now this innocent Nagapatnis, they're thinking, oh maybe he really staked the head of our husband at the gambling match in Mathura, because it looks like he's going to kill him, take his head and take it to Mathura. Oh, come on, let's act very swiftly. Let's do something. How should we protect our husband? So then Narasimha Mehta says that when the Nagapatnis observe that their husband has been crushed by Krishna's lotus feet, and he's like become very humble and there's no way of escaping, and maybe Krishna will end up killing, then they immediately come with all that jewels and all the gifts, with different plates to offer it to Krishna, oh please relieve our husband. So then this is the last line Narasimha Mehta sings. He says, Thad bhari ne shabda moti nagane Krishna vadhaviyo narsaiya nath pase thi nagane naga chodaviyo. So now Narasimha Mehta, he says very humorously, he said, these Nagapatnis, they bribed Krishna. Hey, look, we have so many jewels. Oh, please, come on, please forgive our husband. And Narsaiya, so Narasimha Mehta says that because he's a devotee and he thinks Krishna is his property, so he says, oh, very, very humbly, with lots of prayers, these Nagapatnis, they ended up getting their husband back from the clutches of the beloved Lord of Narasimha Mehta. They just were successful in getting their husband back from the clutches of the beloved Lord of Narsaiya. So like that we see these Vaishnava acharyas, these devotees, they are so rasika, they add so beautiful bhavas in this Leela and they make it so sweet. So here coming back to our story from Srimad Bhagavatam, how Krishna jumps and then he makes all sorts of noises, and then Kaliya just wraps up Krishna in his coils, and then Krishna acts to be, or rather unconscious, he just acts to be unconscious, he just closes his eyes. And then there are, Sukdev Goswami says there are different signs that there's something inauspicious happening, because the Vrajavasis were so attached to Krishna that they could immediately understand, because they could see inauspicious signs. They could see their left eyes twitching. Like it says that for the ladies, if the right eye twitches, then there's something inauspicious going to happen. It's a sign. And for the men, if it is the left eye twitching. So then these Vrajavasis, they see that their body parts are twitching and there's something inauspicious happening. So they immediately think that something is happening to Krishna, because they're so attached to Krishna. Something like in our houses, when sometimes you're just working on your computer and then you see there's some sound from the other room, and if you have little children at your house, the immediate attention will be, oh, where's that little mischief monger? He must have thrown something, he must have done something. Immediately our attention is driven on a person whom we are most affectionate to. And for Vrajavasis, Krishna was their life and soul. So the moment something inauspicious happen and they see this omen, they immediately think, oh, something must have happened to Krishna. For the Vrajavasis, it was so natural for their senses and mind, always driven towards Krishna, even without their permission. I was hearing the other day that somebody was saying very beautifully that Gopi means, Go means the senses and Pi means Pivati. So one who with all her senses drinks the nectar of Krishna. So one beauty about the gopis is, like the other day I was speaking on Gopi Geet, and I remember this very beautiful point in the Gopi Geet that the senses of the gopis are so attached to Krishna that they go to Krishna even without permission of Krishna. And I was thinking this is something like what happens to our lives is our senses, even without our permission, get driven by material sounds, by material things so easily. Sometimes even we are sitting in a Bhagavatam class inside a temple hall, and if we see somebody just walks in, now our eyes, or if there is some noise happening somewhere in the temple hall, even without our permission, our ears will be drawn to that noise. Even without our permission, our eyes are driven to that material noise or whatever noise happening. So just like our senses, they don't take our permission when they go in pursuit of material enjoyment. The gopis' senses, they don't take permission of gopis when they spontaneously go towards Krishna. Their mind and senses are always attracted towards Krishna. So the moment these inauspicious signs are happening, the only thing that is in the mind of all the Vrajavasis is something must have happened to Krishna. And now they didn't need GPS, or they just didn't need anything to find out where Krishna was, because in the Vraja Bhumi, wherever Krishna goes, Krishna's footprints are on the dust of Vrindavan, on the land of Vrindavan, everywhere. And the cows and the calves and the Vrajavasis, they are in so much in love with Krishna that they would never ever stamp or erase those footprints. So even the cows and the calves had that reverence. They would never ever put their feet where they could see the feet of Krishna with those beautiful marks of elephant goad and the barley corn and the different marks that we see on Krishna's lotus feet. So they simply followed Krishna's lotus feet, and they all ended up coming to this Kaliya Daha, where they see Krishna. And Krishna is in the coils of Kalia, and his eyes are closed. And when the Vrajavasis see that, their heart stops. They're all crying for Krishna, because Krishna is their life and soul. They don't have any other option except Krishna. Everything that belongs to them is Krishna's. Like you see this Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he sings very beautifully in this bhajan, Manasa deho geho jo kichu mora arapilu tuva pade Nanda Kishora. We are actually trying to do it. We are practicing to do that. But for gopis, it is natural. Their life and soul is Krishna. So when they see their life and soul there, oh, they're so anxious. Sometimes the devotees wonder, why did Krishna do that? Giving them so much trouble. He could have just fight with Kalia and defeat him and just make the Vrajavasis happy. Why did he give them so much pain? Because Krishna was almost there for like 3 hours inside the coils of Kalia and unconscious and with his eyes closed, and the Vrajavasis actually assumed that maybe Krishna is no more with them, and they were crying. So the Acharyas explained that it's just that sometimes Krishna does this just to enjoy different rasas, because sometimes you see, if your loved one is in a vulnerable position, then that vulnerability increases the lovability, right? Like in the material world, people are very careful. They don't want to show their weakness to anybody, because people will take advantage of it. For example, let's say if there is some boxing match going on and one boxer hits another boxer on the chin, and this boxer overreacts, then this boxer immediately, the other one understands, oh, looks like he's got some hurt on the chin, then this is the right place for me to hit again and again, because that's his weak point. So in the material world, if you show your weak point to others, they immediately want to take advantage of it. But in the spiritual world, it's other way around. When Krishna shows his vulnerability or his weakness, it actually increases the lovability of his devotees, because they all the more feel that, oh, it's us who needs to protect Krishna, or he's dependent on us, or he's helpless, or he's a little boy, or I have to help him. So Krishna wants to enjoy this rasa where these devotees are all out, coming out to help Krishna. So it is explained that how these Vrajavasis, when they see Krishna, they are just ready to enter inside the Kaliya Daha. They just not bothered. Nobody's thinking, oh well, I don't know swimming. Can you go? And help him. There's nobody talking like that. Everybody is just out there, and they are ready to die for Krishna. So they just come out. They're just going inside the water. And then we all know that for this particular Leela, Krishna had not taken Balaram, because he knew what's going to happen and how Balaram's help will be required. So because Balaram was not with Krishna, and he then helps controlling the Vrajavasis. So it says that Balaram did expand himself. So in one place he's holding the cowherd men, because they're all entering along with Nanda Maharaj. They're just entering inside the water. They just want to help Krishna. So he's just controlling them. And one side Balaram is giving a pep talk. He's just talking to others. Hey, look, nothing to worry. Krishna will be fine. He'll come back. Don't worry. And at one side, he's just giving his glance, that reassuring glance, that mature glance on some other cowherd boys, that look, nothing to worry. It's all right. Krishna will come. Krishna is going to come back. Don't worry. So he's just simultaneously doing all this and trying to control the Vrajavasis from, getting inside the Kaliya Daha. And at one side, the gopis are crying, and these gopis are in different rasas. Some are in Vatsalya rasa, like Mother Yashoda, and they're crying for Krishna. And some are in the Madhurya rasa, they love Krishna as their beloved, as their lover. And some are in a Sakhya rasa. So all of them are crying, and the ladies who are little matured in Vatsalya rasa, they are counseling Mother Yashoda. Hey, look, Yashoda, don't worry. You know what happened when Putana had come? Didn't he save himself? Look what happened when Trinavarta had come. Didn't Narayan save him? This time also will. See, you and your husband have done so much good for others. Why will the Lord do that? He'll definitely save your son. Oh, don't worry. So they're all just counseling him. And they just, just like we see when Krishna left the gopis in the middle of the Rasa Leela, how in the Gopi Geet we hear that the gopis were somehow holding their life air in their hands just by hearing the katha of Krishna. Here also, that is what the Vrajavasis are doing, just telling each other Krishna's katha. What did Krishna do other day? Remember what he was doing? Oh, don't worry, he is a smart boy, he'll just come out. Oh, don't worry. And they're just counseling each other. And the animals and the birds who are around, they're all crying. And the cows and the calves, and some of them are not even crying, they're stunned. They are so much grief-stricken that not even tears are coming out. They're just there, that's it, and they're just looking at Krishna, and all this is happening. And now, like Balarama is looking at Krishna, how long you're going to do all this drama? Come on, I'm the Anarthas, and you never even fought with me and had any kind of games. And now look at with this little Kalia, you're doing all this dancing, gaming, how much more you're going to do this drama, Krishna? Balarama is thinking. And the devatas, they now know very well what Krishna is doing, so they are all ready with their sound system and their mics and their mridangas and their kartal, and the apsaras are ready. They've tied their ankle belts, and okay, now we're going to dance, and Krishna is going to do tandav on this nag, and they're all ready. And it's already twilight, it's been like a long time elapsed, so it's little evening, so the lights and the camera and the whole action is ready. And the whole audience is here because Krishna didn't want to kill Kalia just in front of few cowherd boys. He wanted the whole jam-packed audience. Everybody should look what he's doing. He's a hero. So now everybody is ready, and everybody is like, how come Krishna is not starting his, action? And then Krishna is very mischievously Paramatma, right? So Antaryami. So he's telling them, well, I'm just waiting for my heroine to arrive because Radha is not here. So I'm sure I don't want she should miss any of the action when I'm showing all my heroism and fighting with the Kalia. So he's just waiting for Radharani to come because Radharani has to come from Barsana. So it takes a little time. And then finally Radharani arrives there, and then Krishna starts his all fighting with the Kaliya serpent. And I thought that was so beautiful. Krishna enjoys this relationship with the Vrajavasis. Krishna loves it when somebody has a relation with him, when somebody thinks of him as a son, as a brother, as a lover. He just loves that. He wants a relationship. Yeah. I'm reminded of this very beautiful story I had heard once. There was one man who went to Loi Bazaar in Vrindavan. He had gone for the first time to Vrindavan. So he asked, what can I buy here? So people said, look, usually, in Vrindavan, people end up buying the brass statues, brass idols or vigrahas of Krishna. So, and in Vrindavan, all kinds of vigrahas are available. So he ends up buying Durga Devi, and he buys Radha Krishna, and he buys few more. And he just carries them home. Now when he carries them home, his wife is like, are you going to worship all of them? So, why do you have to worship all of them? Just pick up, and rest of them, what we do sometimes, you just give them to your neighbors or you give them to your relatives, when you bring something from Vrindavan. So he says, you are right. So he just puts them all in the cupboard, and he just takes out Radha and Krishna, and he starts worshipping them. Now he's worshipping Radha Krishna every day. And every day that he's worshipping, he's making a silent desire. Oh Krishna, can you do this for me? And he's been making that desire for a long time now. So now 6 months pass, 8 months pass. He does his worship regularly, very nicely. But Krishna is not fulfilling his desire. So one day he gets very angry. He said, I think it's a wrong decision. I shouldn't have worshipped Radha Krishna. They're not fulfilling my desire. So he just takes those Radha Krishna, puts them in the cupboard, takes out Durga Devi's vigraha and puts the vigraha out and starts the worshipping of Durga Devi. I think I'm going to ask you because they're not fulfilling my desire. So now he's all ready. He brings his arti plate. He takes out his agarbatti, and then he lights his matchstick, and the incense is ready. And now when he's just going around the incense, suddenly he stops and he just puts the incense down and he runs. And his wife is like, what happened? He said, don't talk. Can you give me some cotton? Immediately, please give me some cotton. And his wife brings some cotton from the kitchen. And he just rushes to the cupboard where he had kept Radha Krishna deities. He opens the cupboard. He takes the cotton and he puts the cotton in the nostrils of Radha and Krishna. And then he closes the cupboard and comes out. And his wife is like, what happened? He said, no, it's just that, I was worshipping Radha Krishna for a long time and they never fulfilled my desire. So now when I'm offering this agarbatti, I don't want that they should be smelling that incense. Why should I give them that worship? That is why I put, cotton in the nostril so that they don't get this incense. It's only for Durga Devi. I'm not going to give them because they haven't fulfilled my desire. Now when Radharani and Krishna hear this, they just laugh and they just come out. Oh, okay, come on. What is your desire? We'll fulfill, all right? Take this cotton out out from our nostrils. It's all right. Now, why did I tell this story is that he has full faith that Krishna is there. And when I am giving this incense, Krishna is smelling that incense. He's actually taking it. He's not thinking that they're just some idols made up of brass. He actually thinks Krishna is there. And I thought that was so beautiful. Because sometimes we think we have faith, but faith is actually made up of 3 things. It needs 3 ingredients for faith to be complete. To have faith, we need knowledge, we need belief, and we need trust. That is so important. Sometimes our faith is only to the level of knowledge. It's like we know certain quotes from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam here and there, and we believe, and we have this knowledge that ite chamsha kala pungsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is Bhagavan. It is said in this scripture and that scripture, and that's all. We have knowledge, but we can bring our faith to the second level when, along with knowledge, we also have belief. I believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, He is the Lord. And then from belief, the third step and the final step is when you trust 100%. Yes, like you see in this devotee's case, he 100% trusts that Krishna is there. See, like sometimes, when you go to a shop, you see, sometimes they try selling you certain things. Like, other day I was in a shop and there was this a couple of months ago, we were trying to buy a small swing, a wooden swing. So there's this salesman, he has a lot of knowledge. So he went around and explained, Madam, this is made up of this kind of wood and this is the best quality wood and I thought that's nice. He has a lot of knowledge. But does he believe that this is, really good quality jula, good quality swing? So then the owner, of the shop came out and he was trying to convince me. Now this man was a hefty man, maybe like a 90-100 kgs fat and chubby man, and he started explaining. So now his faith on this jula was a little bit more than the salesman. The salesman just had a knowledge, but this man had a belief. So he said, well, I have sold 100 pieces of these and I believe this is the best. Even if a 150 kgs man sits on this jula, it will not break. And just he went around explaining so many things. So I understood not only knowledge, he has a lot of belief that this is the best swing. And then he did something so special, with which I could understand that it was not only knowledge, it was not only belief, I could trust him. He himself was 100 kgs, and then he actually sat on the swing and showed me. I look, and then I was like, I can see that, because he is heavy-weighted man, and he sat, and the swing didn't break. And he had that much faith that it's not going to break. So he actually sat and showed me that, look, this is fine. So I thought, even our faith, it will be complete when we have knowledge, belief and trust completely on Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is going to help us. He is there for us. So here the Vrajavasis, they had complete faith, they had complete surrender towards Krishna. They had so much love for Krishna. Krishna was their wealth, Krishna was their sarvasva. And when they see Krishna there, they were all lamenting and crying. And then finally Radharani arrives, and then Krishna fights Kalia snake, and then we all know how he crushes all his 100 prominent hoods and his 1,000 secondary hoods, and then he becomes very humble. The Kalia becomes very humble, and the moment he becomes humble, the Nagapatnis walk in. And they are like, they start the very beautiful stuti, and I like one point very much in the stuti of Nagapatnis, where they say, it's justice, my lord. What you're doing is justice. And that one line is so precious for us to take lesson from as devotees, because when something apparently happening wrong to you, and at that time also if you can confidently say, it's justice, my lord, what you're doing is justice, that takes a lot. Because even as devotees, sometimes when something happens wrong with you, which you are not prepared to face, or rather you feel, oh, I don't deserve it, I haven't done anything wrong for people to blame me this way, and you are 100% convinced that you haven't done anything wrong and people are still blaming you, and even at that point, if you can still firmly say this to Krishna, that is justice, my Lord. What you're doing is justice. I think that is like the peak of test of a devotee. And here the Nagapatnis, they're seeing their husband being smashed by Krishna, and they say, justice, my Lord. What you're doing is justice. And but then of course then there are other prayers where they say that, oh, please forgive him, and a master should forgive at least the first mistake of the servant, and then they go all out praying to Krishna to forgive their husband. And I thought the very important take home lesson that I took from this katha was that why did even Kaliya get this great fortune of Krishna coming in his lives and giving him his personal association, giving him this personal dust off his feet, and then at the same time not killing him, allowing him to be part of his Leela. It's only because of these Nagapatnis, because they are the devotees of the Lord. That means if we can be somehow or the other association of the devotees of the Lord, even if we may not be capable, we may become the recipient of Lord's mercy. We may become the recipient of Lord's mercy. So association is so important. These Nagapatnis, you see, we hear in this very important, very sweet bhajan, Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanya Gan Bhakti Reja Hara Pailo Govinda Charan. They got Krishna by their bhakti, and because of their association, the Kaliya's snake also got the association of the Lord. Sometimes when we go to Vrindavan, there is this, when we enter the Krishna Balarama temple, just on the beginning on the left side, you see there are lots of flower vendors. They're selling this beautiful fragrant flower malas, and especially the roses of Vrindavan are so fragrant. Nowhere in the world you can have that smell of those desi rose. Now I can understand that these roses are very capable to be engaged in the service of the Lord, because they are fragrant, they are beautiful, they can be engaged in the service of the Lord. But when you take those flower garlands, the flower vendor, he puts those garlands in dry green leaves, and then he ties them with a thread and he gives it to you. And when you go and give that in the altar in the Krishna Balaram temple, now those dry leaves, they don't have good smell, they don't look good, and they have no quality actually to get inside the altar of Radha Shyam Sundar. But just because they associate with this fragrant flowers, they get this opportunity to be in the service of Krishna Balaram. And I thought that was so beautiful. We may be like those dry leaves, no qualification at all, but somehow because we associate with this fragrant devotees of the Lord, the pure devotees of the Lord, in our movement we have this great opportunity to associate with so many devotees of the Lord. And then somehow we will end up, because we are associating with them, we will also end up getting an opportunity to serve the Lord. So here we see that because they are associating with this Nagapatni, Kaliya associated with his wives, he got the association of the Lord. There are three kinds of association. One should hanker for. One is that you associate with the devotees who are higher than you, who are senior than you. One is you associate with the devotees who are on the same level with you, and one is that you associate with the devotees who are new in Krishna consciousness or junior to you, because you get different kinds of benefit from all three of them. You get benefited by the junior devotees because when you bring new people into Krishna consciousness, when you are preaching to them, you also end up being purified. I remember as a young girl in my house, when we used to have these marriages in my house, because we were young, we didn't have much to do, in marriage. What are we supposed to do? The elders do the whole job. So what we used to do as young girls, dress pretty, wear all the nice garments, and then stand at the door where the guests come for the marriage reception. And then we used to be handed over this small sprinkler. And what we have to do is just sprinkle some rose water, some perfume water, and all the guests that come. And believe me, when you keep sprinkling that rose water on others, I used to see that just after an hour, I myself used to smell so good. Because when you keep on sprinkling, some dots or some water also falls on you. And you also smell so good. So when we are associating with the juniors, we just sprinkle on them, we also get purified. And the other kind of association is with those who are equal to us. That is very much required, because those who are junior to us, they almost always end up thinking that we are very great devotees and they keep respecting us. So they don't help us in trimming, just like you trim your hair, trimming our egos. But when we associate with the devotees who are like on the same level with us, oh my God, they'll trim our egos, because they will hurt us at the point where it hurts more, and then they will make sure that we give up our anarthas, we give up our ego, pride, and whatever we have. The other day I was having lunch with my elder son. And I was just telling him, I said, Anirudh, during this lockdown, you have grown up a big beard, you're looking like a Muslim. Why not you cut the beard? So he was making a joke with me. He said, Mama, I'll ask you a riddle. Can you answer it? I said, tell me. He said, tell me the name of a person who shaves 10 times in a day, but he still has a big beard. And I said, I don't know who shaves 10 times a day and he still has a beard. And then he said, oh, you couldn't answer this? It's a barber. And I tell you, that stuck me so hard. I've been talking about this last 10 classes that I gave, barber. This word barber stuck in my head. And I was like, yeah, the barber, he cuts everybody's hair. But if he doesn't cut his own hair, definitely he's going to grow beard. And I was like, in ISKCON, I'm not talking about devotees out there in the forum, I'm talking about myself, that sometimes in preaching, we end up shaving or helping others shave their anarthas. But what about our anarthas? I hope we just don't start, I just hope we don't start growing the beard of our anarthas. And oh my God, that barber word is haunting me. What about our anarthas? We need to shave our anarthas too. So when we associate with the devotees who are on the same level with us, they help us in that. Oh, they will just prick us at the place, where our ego hurts, and then one fine day we will give it up. Because at least we will know that we are hurt. Otherwise we'll think we are pure devotees. Oh, I'm so humble, I never get. But they know where to prick us, and then they will bring out our true colors. And the most important, to associate with somebody who is senior to us, because we need satam krupa. We need their krupa. Because those who are senior devotees, they're carrying Krishna in their heart. They're carrying Krishna's love in their heart. And what we simply need to do is, somehow or the other, do Mahat Seva. Just serve them. Just serve them so nicely. Because when we serve those Vaishnavas, even in a very simple ways, maybe very little personal seva that we do, but if somehow or the other, if they are pleased by our service, then the Krishna prem in their heart gets agitated, and then it gets sprinkled to us, and then it gets planted in our heart. So the Krishna prem from their heart comes to our heart. So it's very important that we serve the senior Vaishnavas and render some menial service to them, whatever service we can do. I'll just tell you a very, very short story here and wrap it up, because it's so much connected to what I'm saying. I heard this from His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, how he was explaining that in his younger days, when he first met Prabhupada in Boston, and he asked Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, how can I select a proper guru? And Prabhupada said, depends on what you want. Do you want to become a servant of Krishna, or you want to become Krishna? You want to become God or you want to become servant of God? Depends on what you want, and then you can select a proper guru. Now, Giriraj Maharaj was explaining that when Prabhupada said that, I felt as if Prabhupada was looking through my heart, because in my room, back in my apartment, I had this one poster in my room wherein there is a picture of, with a finger pointed out saying that you are God. And he was like, I was wondering, how did Prabhupada know that I had this fancy idea that I can become God someday? So how could he even know that I had this idea in my mind? So he was very impressed with what Prabhupada said. And then he started associating with devotees, and then he was almost getting ready to move into the temple. Now, after 1.5 years, when Prabhupada again came to Boston, and Giriraj Maharaj was raising his hands and asking some question after the class. And now listen to this. And then Prabhupada made this very beautiful statement. He said, oh, I know you. You're a very good boy. And last time when I saw you, I was praying to Krishna in my heart that he's a good boy, Krishna. Make him a devotee. He's a good boy. Make him a devotee. And Giriraj Maharaj says that when Prabhupada said that, I understood, that is why I became a devotee. So he said, because this pure Vaishnava had a desire that I should become a devotee. That is why I became a devotee. I was also thinking, how come I became a devotee, right? So I thought that was so beautiful. It's like, we cannot become devotees by ourselves. But if there is some devotee out there who is wishing for us, oh Krishna, make him a devotee, then we'll just become devotee. Sometimes we wonder, oh my God, I have so many bad qualities. How did I even end up becoming a devotee? But it's not our endeavor. It's just that somebody out there must be recommending you to Krishna, must be praying for you to Krishna. So I thought the Kalia was so fortunate because he had the association of this Nagapatnis. So we need to also have these 3 kinds of associations in our life. And now ending with the Falashruti, we all know that, Bhakti Vinod Thakur says in his Krishna Samhita that all the demons in Krishna Leela represent different Anarthas. We know that Kalia represents ego, pride, enviousness, maliciousness, and cruelty. Of course, out of all these Anarthas that Kalia represent, I think the most dangerous one is the envy, because that is one thing which we can never dovetail in Krishna's service. Among the various other anarthas that different demons represent in Krishna Leela, this is one anartha. Narottam Das Thakur says in Prema Bhakti Chandrika that you can divert lust into Krishna's service, you can divert anger, dovetail into Krishna's service, but you can't dovetail enviousness into Krishna's service. So it's very, very, very dangerous anartha. It's like the king of all anarthas. We are here at Visakhapatnam, and our temple is right on the beach. And there are lots of fishermen here. They put the net out, get some fishes, and they sell the fishes. But when they put out a net for some fishes for their own personal consumption, they are so particular. They will get so many fishes in the net, but they will look at each and every fish and whether it is edible, is it good, consumable. Otherwise, they'll simply put the fish back in the water. And I thought that with our sadhana bhakti, chanting and rounds and arti, kirtan, maybe we will somehow get into Krishna's net. But then Krishna will look at us, are we bereft or have we relieved ourselves of all the anarthas? If not, he may again put us back into this material ocean. I think Krishna confirms that in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, sloka number 19. He says that those who are envious, I will perpetually throw them back into this ocean of material existence. So I thought that, oh my God, enviousness is something which is so dangerous. That's why in Gita, Bhagavat, everywhere it's been told that we should try to get rid of this anartha called enviousness. So we know Kalia represents enviousness, and in the Falashruti it is said that if anybody hears this Kaliya Daman Leela in sunrise or time or in the evening attentively, faithfully, then he will be relieved from all his sins. And Krishna will personally enter enter his heart, the heart of the Yamuna-like heart of a devotee, and he will remove the anartha of this Kaliya and drive him out from the heart of the devotee. And just like when Kaliya went away from that lake in Yamuna, all the forest and all the green trees grew back and everything blossomed. Similarly, when Krishna will drive out that anartha from our heart, then all the flowers and trees of devotional service will bloom in the Vrindavan of our heart. So I pray to all the assembled Vaishnavas out there to pray for me that Krishna blesses and removes all the anarthas from our heart, and may the Vrindavan of our heart bloom, and where may we serve Guru and Krishna without making any offense and without any anarthas. So thank you so very much. I hope I haven't gone beyond my time. Kaliya Daman Leela ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Sab Krishna, Krishna, Krishna lage. Sab Krishna, Krishna, Krishna